Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in, all of you incredible souls out there. Welcome back to the Endo channel. Tonight, I am so very excited to introduce to you all Rosa Bunn of Sydney, Australia. Rosa, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Brittany. It's such a pleasure, and I'm so excited to be speaking on this with you and something that's just so dear to my heart. So thank you, Brittany.
Yes, absolutely. It's so good to have you here. And tell me if it's around noon your time, Tuesday, correct, in Australia?
Tuesday around noon. Yes, that's right.
That is too neat. And it's Monday evening here. All right. So for everyone that is tuning in tonight, we are doing a integrative health edition of Getting to Know. So yes, tonight we are going to get to know Rosa Bunn a little bit better and what it is that she is doing for this community and has been doing for such a long time. So before we get started, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of feel of who Rosa is. So she is an integrative health specialist of Sydney, Australia. She is solely focusing on souls with endometriosis. Now, she specializes in nutritional medicine, and she is working towards her PhD in women's health with a focus on endometriosis. So over the last couple of decades, Rosa has been developing and fueling her beautifully unique approach, okay? So while her gift to these souls is catered to their unique journey, she's integrating mental and emotional and physical well-being. She's equipping these souls with knowledge. So the connection between chronic disease, gut health, microbiota, gut-mind connection, and instilling these souls with the ability to create strength through the struggle of endometriosis, addressing reality from a deep cellular level of high inflammation, pain, adhesions, changes to organs, functions of reproductive, bowel, bladder, pelvic cavity, lung tissue, and heart changes. So all of this is leading each soul to reignite their light and thrive on. So Rosa, wow, thank you so much for being here. I'm excited to dive in. This is exciting.
Thank you for that amazing introduction. And it has been years of just groundwork and day in, day out for that long duration and getting to this point where it does feel that endo, we do need this platform of integration and this platform of this multi-modality approach to create this daily existence of hope and well-being. It really requires all of that. Yeah, it's amazing, really.
Yeah, it really is. And it's so interesting because the more that I personally am learning, it's just my eyes are being opened to so much and so much. It makes more sense. You know, I feel like for so long I have felt that there's just a missing link to what it is that we do know and what we are aware of in the endo community. And some of the things that are on the integrative side, once plugging those in, it's just like the puzzle is more complete. And so yeah, it is. It's so important. So,
definitely.
Okay. So, okay, Rosa, my first question for you this evening is last November, I wanted you to share with this or share on this a little bit more. But last November, you had mentioned that you were in Vienna on Congress conference meeting and you were with leading researchers and surgeons. Could you share more on this experience and what changes, if any, did you witness?
Absolutely. The platform in the Congress was really visionary, and it was just so beautiful to actually finally get to this point where surgeons, researchers, and women with endo were coming together on a 3-day event, a 3-day conference, and we got the opportunity to dive deep into real case studies and actually have a platform where surgeons were actually educating up and coming younger doctors that were interested into women's health and in particular endo. So that was really refreshing to actually feel that there was that role and mentoring for new upcoming doctors that were wanting to specialise in endo, which we know as an endo community is such a need and such a strong need, that we need specialists with passion and with the ability to integrate on that level. And I think that was really the take home for me. It gave me so much hope that there is a movement and there is a shift for all the voices and all the pain that we've endured as endo, as a community, as endo, as women. So I really took such great hope from that, Brittany.
That's fantastic. That's what an amazing opportunity to be a part of as well. It's amazing.
Definitely.
So you have stated before, to shine light for women, for souls with endometriosis is your heart work, your soul's purpose, your commitment. So where did this soul deep passion come from?
I think the actual day that it kind of changed for me was just knowing that we needed more of an integration approach. And I think realising my own journey on endo and realising through stories and through sharing with girlfriends at the time that had similar experiences to me, and endo is also in my family as a genetic kind of predisposition. So I think coming from that kind of first-hand experience and knowing that the diagnostic years was such a long journey, it was such a long period of time to endure something, that it gave me hope and it gave me inspiration to go, actually, there's a niche here and there's something that I can actually do going forward. And even though that at that time I didn't see anyone really making the change or being the change agent, I felt in my heart that perhaps I needed to be that change agent. And so it was that kind of lightning moment. It was a real awakening kind of lightning moment that I think I'm the change agent. Yeah.
That's amazing. So how long have you been on your personal journey with endo?
My personal journey, Brittany, has been over 20 years, I'd say almost 25 years on endo. Yeah, it's a long time. Yeah.
That is a long time, and so many women souls can definitely relate to that. Unfortunately, there's so many out there that are far and deep, and I think that the work that you're doing and so many others around the community, that's our ultimate goal, is to change things for the upcoming as well.
Absolutely.
To say, I not only got diagnosed sooner, but I got the right treatment the first time around, not 5 surgeries in and things of that nature. So
absolutely. And carving that path so that the actual path, the path is being pre-carved, and absolutely so on point, Brittany.
Yeah. So, this community, it has been through so much in efforts to get endometriosis, not only on the lips of other souls, but for the public and the healthcare fields. But while such change has transpired, because so much has changed, and I know that we are still crying for change, but let's also look at what we have done, what we have created, the changes that have been implemented.
Yes.
But with that said, there's still so many souls that are suffering. Negative mindsets from dismissal from doctors, gaslighting, misdiagnosis, ablation versus the gold standard treatment, which is excision, which is creating hopelessness for so many. So you, however, are standing boldly on the platform of spreading the good news, words of hope. So I wanted you to share with us how it is that you've been standing boldly on this movement and the steps that you're taking, and just kind of give us an idea of what you do.
Sure.
Spreading hope.
Absolutely. in the last 3 to 4 years, I've been interstate, raising the message and raising voices for women and giving women the opportunity to bring in their voice and bring in their experiences and real experiences of what it really is like living with endo and speaking in real language, in real terms. And I found that even though my voice was shaking, even though my body was trembling, that I felt that I had to be the vehicle and the vessel to raise the actual reality of what women were actually enduring, and not just have it from if I can use the word, just a clinical methodical kind of setting, that we were diving deeper into the actual reality of what women were actually facing day to day. Giving them the opportunity, then we can actually see cluster groups and patterns, and then have an avenue of, okay, let's address the pain. And pain, as we can express, Brittany, can be emotional pain, it can be the grieving pain on that an emotional level, it can be the physical pain that endo can carry, and the actual mind games that endo can play, because it's such a chronic disease or a chronic condition. So then dissecting and unpacking so that we can actually then start to educate and start to manage the pain body in those areas certainly is very, very helpful, clinically, on a patient, on a client perspective. When I have endo sisters and endo women in, that I stand with them and I sit with them in their tears, I sit with them in their wins, I sit with them in their compliance of nutrition and trying to have anti-inflammatory foods, and really step through the actual journey of what is actually coming up on that week, on that day, and being available on that setting, I think has been a game changer. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So,
Yeah.
for you personally, the practices that you're utilizing for others, I'm assuming this is what you've walked yourself through as well with your case. Is that correct?
Initially, Brittany, it started with a understanding on my own personal journey, and then I got to a point where I was really starting to get transformation, and I found my energy levels and my vitality really changing in the foods that I was eating, and the way that I was utilizing anti-inflammatory foods in my life, and the types of exercise that I was actually doing in terms of increasing blood flow to the area, but not overly doing things, was quite fascinating, and interesting. And then over a period of time, once I started my own journey through my work, etc., and seeing it in cases and seeing it and applying it in a clinical setting, definitely I think it held more truth and more value, that it was experiential and my own, but then on a clinical setting, and seeing the actual changes on that level as well, was very uplifting, extremely uplifting. Yeah.
So, how long have you been practicing for yourself? I know that it's been about 20 years. What is your status right now? Or are you considered pain free, or more good than bad days? I'm just
Yeah.
curious as to applying
Yeah,
what you're doing.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Essentially, Brittany, I'm pain free these days. I am, and I might have that kind of off day where I might get like that bit of bloat or that endo belly around ovulation, but compared to those early onset days, it's like day and night right now. It's like day and night, and I find that still, I've still got tears in the back of my throat, thinking, of my endo community and my endo sisters, of how much pain still there is, and how much education and how much stepping through we have to share, that there's still so much groundwork to do here at a community level, that the reality, or the possibility, if I can use the possibility, that it's real. It's a real possibility for transformation. There's a real possibility that we can help the pain. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So, quick question.
Yes.
I am curious. Did you ever have surgery by an expert? And would you say that once coupling that expert surgery with the other efforts that you're putting into play is what took you to that next level?
Sure.
Or is your
About
story different?
I really love that question. About 3 years ago, I had endo surgery, and it did help. I've actually got endo, not only reproductive, but it's in bowel, and I also have endo on my lung tissue as well. So the endo, it actually helped relieve it off the actual bowel. So I had the excision off the bowel, which was very helpful. Obviously, not being able to go to the bathroom can be quite feeds anxiety, and I can really understand that for my endo sisters in our endo communities, that if we're not having the ability to have like a daily simple function, it can be quite stressful during the day to function at that level. So I really hear that question, Brittany, and it did help me, and it gave me an opportunity to go, wow, this is what a normal person experiences. It can be as easy as this, going to the bathroom. It was like a real wow. And as we know, endo has the ability to grow back, and so after a couple of years, I think the surgery really lasted a year and a half. The actual good effects, or the good impact on that. And that is the thing that I'm very fascinated in my research, is how do we then prevent, or is there a possibility of preventing endo from growing back after surgery? So I'm very interested in this. I'm very passionate about this, and I think that's why I'm so passionate about the anti-inflammatory diet, the diet awareness, and the exercise together to increase correct blood flow. I think all has an impact, Brittany. I think it all has an impact and an effect. Yes.
I agree. I had
Mm.
to ask because that's kind of where my game changer came into play. One, I finally reached a true endo expert and
Yes.
received excision. I started out with ablation because I was very,
Yes.
very unknowledgeable back in the day. So I've had a few excisions, but only one by an expert. And then once I had that, and then combined it with the knowledge of everything else, the integrative, the healing deep rooted issues, and microbiota, that's a new one, and that's I'm hearing is key, and we're going to get into that.
Yes.
But that, all of these things combined, just absolute game changer. So, okay, so like I mentioned, microbiota, lately the community has been hearing so much of this word, good gut health, and you too strongly believe that the connection with it and chronic disease. And you have a book, Sharing the Gift of Gut Health book. And tell me if I'm wrong, it is showing people what foods on a day-to-day level are going to be reducing inflammation, and what foods will be restoring a good microbiota. Correct? Is that
That's
right?
correct. Yes,
Okay.
it is. It's the notion came about when I was really deeply in my own struggle with the actual bowel, and it was becoming very inflamed, and I wasn't able to tolerate a lot of the foods that I thought were very quite common, that I could see all my peers and friends eating, and I'd be like, I can't actually eat this food. I'm reacting to everything, and I felt like my esophagus was on fire, and I was like very, very uncomfortable. And And then I kind of did this whole dive deep, and then I created the gut health book. So the intention always behind that was a practical aid that I could put into my handbag, take it to the corner store, take it to my fruit and veg place, so that I could actually do something that was quite simple and nutrient dense. And this whole concept of nutrient dense eating, because I wasn't able to eat a lot of food because of the irritation of the actual bowel, but I could actually then give myself an amazing soup, an amazing broth that had incredible nutrients, incredible essential amino acids, incredible gut healing foods and properties, that then I could actually get my nutrients and my RDIs from. So a recommended daily intake requirement coming into the body in a pre-digested state, Brittany. And I think that was a real game changer. And I noticed that I was able then to get the nutrients in and hold the nutrients in, which I didn't have the ability before that. And seeing the actual bone broths and the actual vegetable soups as well, and having something that was inclusive as well, whether we're vegetarians, vegans, or we're still eating some amount of protein there, and valuing what we're actually nourishing ourselves with, I think was really key as well. Was where is our food source coming from was particularly important in terms of breaking down the foods and having that bioavailability in our foods. And then the gut flora, there's beautiful recipes there on fermentation and the actual enzymatic. Very big on the term of enzymes and create an enzymatic reaction, so that we're eating alive foods, which then increases and enhances our own energy state and our own vitality state. And then the other angle of the gut mind axis of, if I was feeling quite low, because chronic disease can make us feel, a bit blue on some days of dealing with endo every day of our lives, is that it gives the mind also some in terms of the cognition, in terms of the concentration, ability to have better concentration, ability to have better clarity if we're getting the right ingredients into our foods. And I think that was really a game changer, is that if we're eating clean foods, then we're having a better chance to have clarity and good concentration levels in the actual mind and brain. So I got very excited about feeling that for my own self, and then educating on that level as well.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So your patients, your clients, whenever they're tapping into this good gut health book, what is some of the feedback that you're receiving? Everybody's body is different, so maybe one thing doesn't work for the other. Yes, we know that, but how amazing is it to actually have all of it right here? What's, like, you broke it down to the mind gut connection, to the microbiota, to the inflammation, and it's all affecting our mental state as well. So to have that all in one place sounds pretty fantastic. But what is some of the feedback that you have received on it? Obviously you've tried it yourself and you love it and it's working for you.
I've had some really great feedback, Brittany. I've had endo girls and endo sisters say to me, it's not always about that weight loss either. So I don't want to present it in that way, but with that endo belly and the endo bloating and that kind of distension, and at times it can be it's even worse than a distension. It's just like all the organs are kind of suffering and being bloated in terms of all that water retention and all that inflammation of the actual cell, and you feel like you've been so stretched internally that I really I get emotional even hearing it, really, in terms of the relay, that having an opportunity of trying to calm the endo belly for my endo sisters has been really I'd say rewarding, but it's a deeper word. It's beautiful to hear that my endo sisters have got some outlet that I'm able to relieve some of this endo bloat, this endo belly. And for someone that doesn't really know, I guess, endo, because I haven't experienced it, the endo belly is something that we all kind of, struggle with on such a level, don't we? We struggle emotionally and mentally and physically on that level, and it's more than just a bloat. It's really quite painful. Yeah. So
Yes.
I love receiving feedback on that. I love receiving that, Rosa, I've tried that food and I never knew that existed, on that level, and I really like it, and now I'm starting to add it, and I've introduced it to my family and they really like it as well. And so it's like, wow, that's so exciting that, that your actual table is actually grown with lots more color and lot more vital foods. And there was just another thing that really excites me is, I'm not preheating all my food anymore. I'm actually preparing them and I'm eating them within 20 minutes or half an hour of my prep, so that I'm understanding that I'm eating the carrot when it's juicy, and I'm eating the actual juice when I've just made it. And I get really excited about that, because I think that's where it's at. That's where the vitality is. We're not going to get it from preheating or zapping our food in the microwave. So on that
So
simplistic
true.
level, I get pretty excited hearing that, because I think that small change is a big change long term. Yeah.
I love that. Okay. So that is wonderful. I do, at the end of this live, I will link up to your page where they can find information on the gut health book. I know that knowledge is power and awareness is key. I know that microbiota has been talked about a lot lately in the community. And so I empower every soul that is watching to at least go check it out. Read up on it, what it is, how it can help you, and start applying it. And I know that it's a lot, but man, we are our own best advocates. And the way that you do that is by doing your own research and showing up for yourself. So I definitely encourage you to check it out, at least educate yourself more on what microbiota is, what she's talking about with the mind gut connection. I mean, it's game changer. If I only would have had this information, Rosa, back in the day, I swear my life would probably be a little bit fast forward,
I hear it, Brittany. Same, ditto. I'll say me too.
I know.
Yeah.
So, okay. You've stated that that your whole approach is promoted as the whole unique divine soul is seen as uniquely them and their unique blueprint. So I'd love for you to share this process with us. How is it that you create a compass map with the blueprint for each soul to ignite their light? So just to give our audience an idea as to what you could help them with if they come to you and say, great, you're an internal, an integrative health specialist and you only deal with women with endo. So what does that look like for me? And how is it going to be uniquely built just for me?
Sure. Initially, Brittany, I look at what are the symptoms that my endo sister's going through, and uniquely her own. So really understanding and hearing the case history of the journey and current in the current terms as well. So piecing that out on an analytical, as well as looking at the case history of medical lines, so your blood reports and your scans and surgeries, etc., and who your medical doctor and medical team are, and surgeons are. So then having a whole approach in terms of a medical team approach, taking care of you is being very, very essential in the process. And then once I've gain and ascertained all that collective information, then I sit down for hours, 4 or 5 hours on that case after I've had the initial consultation with my client, with my patient, and then design a treatment protocol designed on compliance. And then I step through with my endo sister the compliance. So what are we ready for to make a change? Are we ready to tackle the nutrition first? Are we ready to tackle the pain first? So what's actually really prevalent and most prevalent for that particular case? And so then we have priorities. So there might be 10 on the list, but with the top 3 might be the first 3 that we really need to spend time tackling. So if there's pain, and obviously there is pain with endo, but if that is the most crucial, and then I can see that that's going to be the game changer, if we can manage the pain, let's focus on reducing the pain. In what ways? What ways can we do that? So then there's a whole avenue of ways, and then it's specific to the particular case. So having that treatment protocol approach, and then finding the different modalities, so nutrition, adequate sleep, the melatonin levels, the serotonin levels, so that we've got those feel-good chemicals coming in our gut microbiota, so that we've got the mind and the gut working together synergistically. We've got good blood flow to the pelvis, whether we want to do exercises like yoga and Pilates. Pilates is an amazing modality to increase that beautiful, juicy blood flow to the actual pelvic area. And really then whether the pain, whether we want to go into even yoga and aspects of meditation in terms of trying to calm the anxiety, which we all go through as endo sisters, is trying to calm the body down, mind and body, which is conducive to healing. So when we're in a calm state, then we have an amazing ability for this incredible primal body to heal and repair and regenerate and restore. So I think having all that as a focus, and then speaking on that individual treatment, is very important and critical. That's the game changer, I think, Brittany.
How long would you say that you work with one individual? I can only imagine taking on a case, just because I know from my own how difficult and complex it has been. So
Yes.
whenever you're taking on a case, I mean, is this something that they can look to spend a couple of weeks with you on, or, what does that look like?
It's a really beautiful question. For clients that have had endo for a long period of time, I mean, I have a few cases that have been in incredibly long years and multiple surgeries. So then we've got underlining implications there. And the severity of implication is unique to the endo sister. So if I see that there's been many years, like decades and decades of suffering, then usually that takes three months to 6 months, sometimes a year program, because there's so much mindset and conditioning and unraveling and unfolding. And that sounds like a long time, Brittany, but really in the scheme of things, in terms of healing the body, the foundational work, it takes 21 days to create a change and to create a habit and a new program. And we live in such amazing bodies that do have the ability to heal and redirect, but we need to be compliant as well and give it the best chance possible. And sometimes making a change on a dietary change can be quite challenging. So having a new habit takes 21 days to practice that new habit. So I think realistically 3 months to 6 months is really realistic. And then to see a transformation within a year, it's really beautiful to think that in a year's time there's a transformation there, which is on a compliance case, is very real. That is real. That's available. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. That is so true. And if it's, man, and there's so much to say with the good old saying, never give up. Because once you apply it to your life and you create that happen in 21 days, 90 days later, you've created a lifestyle and you keep going. Because if you don't keep showing up, then you're going to keep moving backwards or front back, take a step back or take a step forward and then so many back. But if you're not giving up and you're just moving forward, a year's time is like a blink of an eye. Am I right? And so when you
You
look
are
back, you're
so
just
right,
like,
Brittany.
look what I've done. Look what I've
Yes.
done. And you have a
Yes.
whole new outlook within a very short amount of time when you look at the whole scheme of things. 20 plus years dealing with endo, take a year and change it. It makes
That's
a
right.
really deep-rooted change. So
Yeah.
that's fantastic. So they have you during that whole time period. You're their support. You're there at any time and all of that, correct? They're
That's
supporting
correct.
them. That's
I
amazing.
am. That's correct. And then the review and what happens in, we kind of have to review things. I think having a mentor there and a coach there and having someone there to kind of sit with you in those review times, to be in a real conversation and having those moments where we all do. It's like, I want to give up on this, and how those mind games come in and just basically giving me a call and saying, I feel like giving up, and having the pep talk of, but you've come so far, you don't really want to give up right now. It's just that the mind is playing these mind games, and and we all need that. We all need that inspiration and that motivation to go, we're not going to give up on this. Absolutely, Brittany.
Yes, accountability is so important. You're so right, because you're right. It does, and it will beat you down, this disease.
That's right.
If you allow it. But everyone needs to know, that is watching right now, that you are stronger than all of this, and you've always been equipped to overcome it. It's just who you're choosing to surround yourself with, your environment. Who's your cheerleader, and you yourself. You should be your number one cheerleader first and foremost, and then build your support around that. But beautiful. We are all strong enough.
So beautiful, Brittany.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what is one case that stands out to you that might inspire someone today? One case that you helped with.
Yeah. One case that stands out is a really incredible young woman. She came to me about 2 years ago, and she had almost, Brittany, over 14 procedures for endo at such a young age. And she's very dear to me, and her family is very, very dear to me. And I can't say how excited I am to see her this year. She's just done incredible work, and she's endured so much pain through the endo. And watching her transform and watching her light this year, it's so moving. It's so touching for me. You probably can hear it in my voice. It kind of starts to tremble when I speak and think of her. But her ability to stay grounded, her ability to keep her strength inspires me. It really does. And the way that I've watched her go to emergency departments, twice, sometimes 3 times a week, to things really settling down now. And she had an opportunity to go overseas and enjoy a trip overseas with her family this year. It really brings tears to my eyes that she's had that transformation. And when she first came to me, she was, pretty much bedridden. She couldn't climb up my stairs at my clinic. She had to take some breaks because it was just so painful for her. I think watching her transform in less than 2 years has been incredible. I think she's my standout case, absolutely. Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest change for her in her case? Was her battle more nutrition, Did she, was it more of a mental game for, for deep-rooted issues or?
Sure. In her case, it was regarding having some function in a life. So she went from not being able to work. Now she is holding down a job which she loves and brings her passion and joy. And she's been able now to go out and enjoy herself socially, which wasn't available to her at that time. And so I guess, having her life back instead of, staying in bed most days and being in agony with the pain. So her big thing has been the pain management and having a hold on the nutrition. And that's been a journey for her as well, because sometimes we need to try different diets to actually know what actually works for me and not what's on trend, but what actually works for me. So that goes through a process of taking notes and being, I really am big on saying to my endo sisters is that let's write down a journal and let's see what actually works for you, so that we're actually got something to actually analyze and actually have data to go, actually, I felt really good when I eat this type of food. I felt really good when I go to bed at, say, 9 p.m. or if I sleep 8 hours, or, what really works for me. I think that's been really key.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how can, are we already about to wrap up? This was my last question for you. That seems really fast. Well, I was about to ask, how can everyone stay in touch with you? I do want you to kind of give us the rundown, Facebook, Instagram. Do you have a website? If people are interested in contacting you, what can they do to get in touch with you?
Sure. You can check me out on my website, which is www.regainenergy.com.au. And if you would like to, you can join me on my Facebook page. There's my clinic name, which is Regain Energy. There's my personal page, which is Rosa Bunn. And Instagram is Regen, REGEN, which means regeneration. Yeah, or if you want to email me, Indo, you can go into my private email, which is rosa@regainenergy.com.au. So I'd be really blessed and humbled if I can touch and reach any of my Indo sisters and give them a pathway to hope. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Brittany.
Oh, you are so welcome. Thank you. I really appreciate your time this evening or afternoon for you. And any light that we can shed more on for this community when it comes to gut health and everything else that I feel like the movement is pushing us towards, it's a good day for me. I love this. I think it's so deeply important. So thank you for the work that you're doing within the community.
Thank you for your work, Brittany, and thank you for raising the platform for Endo collectively as women and being the light that you are. It's really beautiful. Thank you for our connection.
Thank you so much. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this evening. We were here with Rosa Bunn on an integrative health edition of Getting to Know. And until next time, please know you have always been enough. You have always been equipped. So speak it, believe it, live it. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, Brittany.
Bye.